golden state. I want to talk about capitalism and communism. Both of those ideologies, both of those economic systems drain the soul of a people. When you look at communism, all you got to do is look at the USSR, Russia. You look at the devastating effects that has on people's morality, their soul, their how do you say that, their morale, right? I meant to say morale, not morality, although it affects morality too. The morale and soul of people. You know, communism is an attack of the poor on the rich. And the perfect meme for communism is the picture of someone starving. You pick any one of these third world countries, you get someone that they'll put on commercials that is skin and bones. That's the perfect meme for communism. Now, capitalism, on the other hand, is the opposite. It's an attack of the rich on the poor. And the perfect meme for that is you go to Walmart and you see the obese person that, and you see that's very common in America, the obesity. Why? Because America, what capitalism leads to is decadence and consuming, right? Because capitalism depends on a consumerist mentality. This is why we have so much debt, right? You look at the average American, they're in debt with credit cards. You go to retail stores, and as soon as you get there, they want to sign you up for their credit card, their credit line, right? Why? Because capitalism is the success of capitalism depends on cheap labor, okay? Cheap labor, and it depends on constant consuming and debt. It's a debt-based economy, right? And so the meme for capitalism is that obese Walmart shopper, right? Because capitalism leads to decadence. As does communism, but in another way, right? Communism, we'll talk about that in another video. So what is the solution then? If capitalism and communism, if they don't work, then what is the solution? Well, it's a national economy, right? A nationalistic economy is what we need, where the jobs stay in our country. We limit immigration. That means we stop illegal immigration. I know a lot of people don't like to hear it this day and age, but that's a fact, because if you're an American and you're for illegal immigration, you're basically against your own interest, because the more labor you have in a country, the more job wages go down. Why? Because the advantage now is in favor of the business owner, the corporation, because they have many workers to choose from. And if you don't want to take that job at $16 an hour, they have plenty of options to choose from. And that's where illegal immigration comes in, because now they can even go below minimum wage. You get screwed out of a job, because back in the glory days of America, quote unquote, leave it to Beaver, right? Although that was truly the beginning of the end. A man could raise his family on one income, buy a nice, house in the suburbs. His wife could stay at home and be a mother to her children and not send their kids to some daycare where the people don't know the kid and likely don't love the kid. The mom could be a mom, and she'd have the house in order. The husband comes home. They can go on a vacation once or twice a year. They can have one or two automobiles and he could live off that, right? Well, now with the flood of illegal immigration, because the immigration acts of the 1960s, what it has done was it's given the corporations an abundance of cheap labor, right? And so what that does now, it lowers the wages across the board, okay? So now the favor is in the business owner to lower wages so that you no longer can raise your family on one income. Now you have to have your wife go to work. You have to have some impersonal generic daycare take care of your kids and teach your kids morality, okay? You can't homeschool, because now you got to have the communist public school system with their degenerate morality indoctrinate your kids. And then, then you have the latchkey kid syndrome, which Generation X, that's what it was all about, right? I'm Gen X. I know. I lived it. I was latchkey all the way. So what we need is a national economy. We need to prohibit companies from taking their factories, their jobs outside of this country. This is why you call American corporations now, and who you have someone from India on the other line as customer service, right? And so the national economy would prohibit this moving of labor outside the country, And moving that labor outside the country isn't even good for the countries that the labor is moved to. Take Nike, for example, or an Apple. They have these factories where you have cheap labor. I mean, children as young as 12 years old. They have to put nets around the building called suicide nets because the conditions are so awful there that people are committing suicide. And but this is again America. This is the capitalistic, predatory nature of America, of Western countries that embrace capitalism. It's a predatory economic system. Okay, and again, like I said, communism isn't the solution because it's nothing more than an attack on the rich by the poor, right? That's what communism is. Communism feeds a victim mentality. We're always oppressed, victim privilege, and this is why people absolutely hate nationalism. You hate nationalism because it's fed to you to prey on your emotions of victim mentality, looking at certain people as oppressors, right? When the fact of the matter is that the reason why they hate nationalism because it takes the power away from the capitalist elite and the communist elite. On one side you have capitalism, neoconservatism, Zionism, ran from Jerusalem and London, the Rothschild banking system, the Jewish banking system. Then you have communism, ran from also Jerusalem and the New York, the United Nations. The United Nations plays a role in both capitalism, communist ideologies, which are both headquartered ultimately out of Jerusalem and London, and the Vatican. The Vatican is used as the tool to enslave Christians into this Zionist Bolshevik New World Order that is right before us. Why do you think all your leaders your world leaders, whether it's the U.S. president, Vladimir Putin, Zelensky from Ukraine, Bill Gates, Obama, Trump, Bush, the Bushes, why do you think you see photographs of them at the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem? They're paying homage to the God of Judaism, which is Satan. Remember, Jesus Christ said this. He says, beware of those of the synagogue of Satan. He's talking about Judaism. He's talking about the Mosaic system of religion, Judaism. He calls it the synagogue of Satan. What does that mean? That Satan is the God of the religion of Judaism. He also said in John 8:44, you are of your father the devil. Well, those are the ones right now that are controlling the economic systems of the West. Capitalism and communism are nothing more than Zionist Bolshevik ideologies. Like I said, rooted in the Rothschild banking system of London, which was brought to America in 1913 through the Federal Reserve, and now we are trillions of dollars in debt, right? We had a surplus before the Federal Reserve, 12 to 13 trillion dollars, and now we have a negative. We're in debt by 17 trillion or something like that. That's the last I heard. That could have gone up big time. So you ask yourself, if it doesn't work, why keep it? Right? But it's again, slavery is still here. It's just called credit cards. It's called debt. That's slavery. And that debt system is an essential part of capitalism. They need debt. That's why you get asked about signing up for credit cards and credit lines at your local retailer. And this is why they deem it as nationalism, because nationalism is a solution to communism.